Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. I'm back with another video taking a look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1930s and 1940s for May 2025. For the month of May in the 1930s, the top 10 is dominated by cards from the 1933 Gaudy set. As for the cards from the 1940s, Jackie Robinson cards lead the way. Now, before I get to the two top 10 lists, I thought it would be a good time to give a refresher as to where I get the information and data for my top 10 lists. Well, I mainly rely on eBay's Terapeak website. It's free for anyone to check out, and supposedly it gives an accurate representation of actual transactional sold items on eBay. Now, for example, if you do a search for sold listings and there was a best offer, it may not give what that best offer sales price was, but on Terapeak's website, it would let you know what the actual agreed upon best offer was. Now, I also double check eBay's data with VCP's database. Now, in most cases, the sale is reported in VCP's database, but there are occasions where the sale is not in VCP's database. But if it is not, that doesn't mean I will not include it in the top 10, because my main source of data for these videos is eBay's Terapeak website. So if it is on the eBay website, I count it as a completed sale, because according to eBay, that sale was completed. Now, I don't know all the technicalities of it as for whether a particular sale at some point may get canceled or returned. I don't know. But from what I know of the website, it appears to be completed transactions where money exchanged hands. So with that, let's go take a look at the two top 10 lists. All right, let's start off with the top 10 from the 1930s. At number 10, we have this 1934 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 61 in a PSA 2. This one sold on May 3rd for $5,300. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 2 is $4,172. The record high sale was $5,799 back in October of 2021 through eBay. Now, there were two other significant 1934 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 61 sales in May. One was a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 2nd for $4,750. And then we have a PSA 1 with a mark that sold on May 26th for $2,077. At number 9, we have this 1932 U.S. Caramel Ty Cobb in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 27th for $5,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $2,875. This sale here at $5,500 would represent a new record high sale for a PSA 4 copy. The previous high was $2,875 back in June of 2020 through eBay. At number 8, we have this 1933 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 92 in the set in a PSA 3.5. This one sold on May 3rd for $5,600. It was an auction. There were 13 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 3.5 is $7,950. The record high sale was $9,900 back in February of 2024 through Heritage. Now, there were three other significant 1933 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 92 sales in May. One was a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 16th for $4,750. A PSA 1.5 copy sold on May 21st for $3,900. And finally, an authentic altered copy sold on May 2nd for $2,000. At number 7, we have this 1933 Sport Kings Ty Cobb in a PSA 6. This one sold on May 8th for $7,800. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 6 is this sale at $7,800 and represents a new record high sale for a PSA 6 copy. The previous high was $3,995 back in October of 2019 through eBay. At number 6, we have this 1933 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 160 in the set in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 21st for $8,450. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $8,375. The record high sale was $11,700 back in November of 2022 through Heritage. Now there were 4 other 1933 Gaudy Lou Gehrig card number 160 sales in May. First off, we have another PSA 4 copy that sold on May 18th for $8,230. Then we have a PSA 1.5 that sold on May 20th for $5,250, followed by a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 30th for $3,890, and finally a PSA 1 copy sold on May 7th for $2,711. At number 5, we have this 1933-36 Z-Nut Pacific Coast League Joe DiMaggio. This is the batting version in an authentic condition. This one sold on May 25th for $8,662. It was an auction. There were 29 bids. The current VCP average price for an authentic condition is $8,662. The record high sale was $9,600 back in September of 2022 through Memory Lane. At number 4, we have this 1933 Gaudy Mel Ott in a PSA 8. This one sold on April 18th for $10,000. It was an auction. There were 30 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $10,516. The record high sale was $12,199 back in December of 2021 through Memory Lane. Now, there have been 30 copies graded a PSA 8. Only 6 have been graded a PSA 9, and only 1 has been graded a PSA 10. Now, there was one other 1933 Gaudy Mel Ott sale in May. This one, a PSA 5.5 copy, sold on May 1st for $2,037. At number 3, we have this 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth card number 53 in the set in a PSA 2. This one sold on May 4th for $13,750. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 2 is $12,600. The record high sale was $18,192 back in September of 2022 through Memory Lane. At number 2, we have another Babe Ruth card from the 1933 Gaudy set. This one, card number 149 in a PSA 3. This one sold on May 21st for $14,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 3 is $13,488. The record high sale was $29,500 back in December of 2023 through eBay. And at number 1 for the month of May, we have yet another 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth. This one, card number 144 in the set in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 9th for $19,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $16,039. The record high sale was $34,800 back in December of 2022 through PWCC. Now, there were 4 other 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth card number 144 sales in May. First, we have a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 9th for $8,750. Then a PSA 1 copy that sold on May 7th for $6,150. Another PSA 1 copy sold on May 3rd for $6,000. And finally, a PSA 3 miscut sold on May 3rd for $5,900. All right, on to the top 10 from the 1940s. At number 10, we have this 1947 tip-top bred Warren Spawn in a PSA 4. This is the highest graded PSA copy with a population of 1. This one sold on May 19th for $5,077. It was an auction. There were 34 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is this sale here at $5,077 and represents a new record high sale for a PSA 4 copy. The previous high was $5,002 that sold in October of 2023 through Golden Auction and was actually the same card that sold back in 2023 as the one here in May. At number 9, we have this 1948 R346 Blue Tint Jackie Robinson in a PSA 1.5. This one sold on May 27th for $5,350. It was an auction. There were 39 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 1.5 is this sale here at $5,350 and represents a new record high sale for a PSA 1.5 copy. The previous high was $2,025 back in September of 2023 through eBay. At number 8, we have this 1949 Leaf Babe Ruth in a PSA 4. This one sold on May 20th for $5,500. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 4 is $5,126. The record high sale was $10,742 back in May of 2023 through Memory Lane. Now, there were 3 other significant 1949 Leaf Babe Ruth sales in May. First off, we have a PSA 2 copy that sold on May 10th for $5,000. Then a PSA 3.5 copy sold on May 1st for $4,720. And finally, a PSA 4 copy sold on May 27th for $4,100. At number 7, we have this 1940 play ball Joe Jackson in a PSA 5. This one sold on May 31st for $5,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 5 is $4,626. The record high sale was not too far off from this sale in May at $5,535 back in December of 2021 through Huggins and Scott. Now, there was one other 1940 Playball Joe Jackson sale in May. This one, a PSA 1 copy, sold on May 25th for $3,226. At number 6, we have this 1948 Leaf, or 49 Leaf, I should say, Warren Spawn in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 17th for $7,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $7,121. The record high sale was $11,100 back in May of 2022 through Heritage. Now, there was one other 1949 Leaf Warren Spawn sale in May. Another PSA 8 copy sold on May 1st for $7,200. At number 5, we have this 1947 to 66 exhibits Satchel Paige in a PSA 8. Now, in a PSA 8, there's only 2 that have been graded at that level, and only 1 has been graded a PSA 9. This one sold on May 30th for $10,500. It was a best offer. Now, the current VCP average price for PSA 8 is only $1,168. VCP's database did not have this sale here from eBay. The sale here at $10,500 represents a new record high sale, and it's about 9 times the amount of the previous high sale, which was $1,168 back in April of 2019 through a PWCC listing on eBay. At number 4, we have this 1947 Tip Top Bread Yogi Berra. It's listed as Larry Berra, but it is Yogi Berra in a PSA 7. This one sold on May 23rd for $12,950. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price for a PSA 7 is $7,930. So this sale here at $12,950 represent a new record high sale for a PSA 7. The previous high was $7,930 back in March of 2024 through Golden Auctions. At number 3, we have this 1948 Swell Sport Thrill dramatic debut Jackie Robinson in a PSA 7. It is the highest graded PSA copy, and there have only been 5 graded a PSA 7. This one sold on May 22nd for $27,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 7 only shows it at $4,000. This sale here at $27,000 would represent a new record high sale and blow away the previous high of $4,000 back in October of 2019 through eBay. At number 2, we have this 1948 Leaf Jackie Robinson in a PSA 6.5. This one sold on May 19th for $36,250. It was an auction. There were 70 bids. The current VCP average price for a PSA 6.5 is $26,888. Now, the record high sale was $113,160 back in April of 2021 through Golden Auction, and it happened to be the same exact card. So back in 2021, this card sold for over $113,000, and in May of 2025, it sold for just over $36,000. Now, there were 3 other significant 1949 Leaf Jackie Robinson sales in May. First, we have a PSA 3.5 that sold on May 18th for $13,000. Then we have a PSA 6 miscut that sold on May 29th for $11,000. And finally, a PSA 1 copy sold on May 25th for $6,250. And at number 1 for the 1940s, we have this 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson in a PSA 8. This one sold on May 28th for $47,500. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 8 is $37,833. But the record high sale was $84,000 back in September of 2021 through PWCC. Now, in this PSA 8 grade, there are 115 copies. 12 have been graded a PSA 9. None have been graded a PSA 10. Now, there were 3 other 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson sales of note in May. First, we have a PSA 7 copy that sold on May 13th for $14,499. Then a PSA 3 copy sold on May 20th for $6,215. And finally, a PSA 1.5 copy sold on May 8th for $3,100. Well, there you go. The top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1930s and 1940s for May 2025. As always, would love to know in the comments what you think about the cards that made the 2 top 10 lists. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.